Every kingdom believes its money is safe. Every government believes what it builds will last forever. And every time, as I've said, history repeats itself. From Rome to Italy, from the Confederacy to modern Lebanon, people have always woken up one morning to find their savings worthless, their salaries meaningless, their efforts wasted. Collapse isn't rare, collapse is the rule. The question isn't whether financial systems fail. They always do. The real question is, how do you protect yourself when they do? The illusion of permanence is the most dangerous financial mistake you can make. We look at the money in our bank accounts, at our national currencies, and believe they're unshakable. But money isn't unshakable. Money is trust, and that trust can vanish overnight. That's why history is both dangerous and valuable. Every collapse leaves behind a set of lessons. It shows what real wealth is, and what's as worthless as dust. And if you look closely, you'll notice something. The winners of every collapse weren't the ones who trusted the system, but the ones who doubted it first. Let's take the Byzantine Empire as an example. It was said to have survived 1,000 years longer than Rome. At the center of its economy stood the solidus, a coin so trusted that merchants from Europe to Asia accepted it without question. For centuries, it was the reserve currency of the medieval world. They should have learned from Rome's mistake, the devaluation of the silver denarius. But they didn't. Centuries later, Byzantium made the same mistake, this time with gold. They began mixing it with cheaper metals. At first, no one noticed. Then, trust faded. The currency that once anchored Mediterranean trade became nothing more than a political lie. Its collapse tore the economy apart. Who survived? Those who held real gold or land outside the empire. Everyone else watched their wealth evaporate. The first great lesson of history was clear. When governments dilute their money, its real value escapes, beyond their reach. But not every collapse comes from corruption or greed. Sometimes it comes from nature itself. In the 14th century, the Black Death struck Europe. Between 1347 and 1351, half the population vanished. Cities emptied, towns, discipline, trade collapsed. But the plague didn't just destroy, it transformed. When half the workforce died, labor became precious. The survivors demanded higher wages. There was plenty of land and food, but few people left. Those with liquidity, those who could still work or trade, gained opportunities they'd never imagined. Empty houses, untended farms, and negotiation power all belonged to the living. Sound familiar? Because the same thing happened during COVID-19. Supply chains broke, governments printed oceans of money, and the liquid, the ones with assets, became richer. In the US, housing prices soared. The stock market bounced back, while many couldn't even pay rent. The pattern never changes. Pandemics redistribute wealth. The Black Death rewarded survivors with land. COVID rewarded those with cash and capital. Crises always reward those who have reserves and punish those who don't. The collapse of Renaissance Florence's banking families offered another lesson. Even institutions that seem too big to fail can crumble to dust. In the 1340s, Florence was the financial center of Europe. The Bardi and Peruzzi families lent vast sums to kings, including England's King Edward III. When he defaulted, the banks collapsed. Depositors were ruined. Trade stopped. The city shook. Florentines learned a brutal truth. Too big to fail is a lie. Institutions exist for their own profit, not yours. That mistake repeated itself for centuries. Take the American Civil War, another financial disaster. The North printed greenbacks, the South printed greybacks. The more they printed, the less they were worth. In the South, inflation became hellish. Wages couldn't buy a loaf of bread. Families carried money in sacks, worthless paper. By 1865, Confederate currency was dead. Those who owned land, food, or gold survived. Those who trusted paper vanished. And that's America's financial lesson. Even your own nation's money can't be trusted. Protection doesn't come from what's in your wallet, but from assets that stand beyond inflation. In revolutionary France, the same pattern played out again. After overthrowing the monarchy, the revolutionaries seized church property and printed a new currency, the assignat. It was backed by confiscated land. But then they printed too much. Each new issue devalued the last. Prices soared. Wages collapsed. Farmers refused paper. They wanted silver or goods. Food riots began. And once again, the winners weren't those with paper, but those with real assets. History had repeated itself. Fast forward 2 centuries, the 1997 Asian financial crisis. The Thai baht collapsed, followed by Indonesia, Malaysia, and South Korea. Foreign debt became unpayable overnight. Unemployment soared. Economies crumbled. And once again, the pattern was clear. Borrowing in someone else's currency is suicide. When the storm comes, the debtors drown. The creditors don't. Rome, France, America, Asia, all followed the same path. Paper money collapses. Debt enslaves. Winners aren't those who believe in the system. They're the ones who spot its fragility first. And collapse isn't just history. It's happening right now. Between 2019 and 2021, Lebanon's banks locked their doors. People woke up to frozen accounts. The Lebanese pound lost over 90% of its value. Lifelong savings vanished overnight. Crowds gathered in front of banks, powerless, desperate. And once again, who were the winners? You already know. So, how do you protect yourself when everything collapses? Each disaster looked different. In Byzantium, gold. In the Black Death, liquidity. In Florence, banks. In the Confederacy, goods. In France, food and land. In Asia, foreign debt. In Lebanon, banks again. But the core lesson never changed. To win, you must understand the real value of things, not just trust paper or institutions. Collapse is both tragedy and opportunity. For the unprepared, it's disaster. For the ready, it's a path to wealth. History shows that protection isn't just saving, it's recognizing opportunity. Wealth isn't only what you own, it's what you can do. History repeats, and those who adapt don't just survive, they rise. Every crisis destroys the meaning of money, but not of production. Human needs never end. Those who meet them don't stay poor for long. Real protection isn't trusting institutions. It's holding real assets, real skills, and knowing that every illusion eventually breaks. So the question isn't whether things will collapse, because they will. The question is, when everything falls apart, will you be left with promises or with reality? If this gave you a new perspective, subscribe. History knows the answers, and I'll show you the ones you need to know.